So we're finally within a week away from spring camp, and we're down to our final coach of all the interviews, which is Coach Flea. Very excited to react to this interview. I also have an interview coming on MagDog TV, Peyton Kraft. She's a sports analyst at Colorado, and she also have a lot of information on Colorado football. If you guys have any questions you guys want me to ask her, feel free to drop a comment. What's good, YouTube? MagDog TV back with another video. If you're new here, stopping by for the first time, hit the like, subscribe button, comment. I really appreciate it. Also, click the notification bell. That way, whenever I upload a video, you guys will be aware.
Hi, Coach. Nikki Edwards, CU Sports Report. When Coach Prime got the job to come to Colorado, did you know instantly that you wanted to follow him here, and what was your decision-making behind coming here?
Just because I've been in coaching for about 22 years. And in this business, you need someone that can take you places that you probably can't get to on your own. And I knew I had a special guy when I met Coach Prime. I knew he was going places based on some of the things that we implemented within a short span of time at Jackson State. Do I want to be a head coach again? I definitely do. But just the right situation, right timing. But when I knew that things was going to happen for Coach Prime, I just want to make sure I position myself to be ready for that opportunity. And I would not be here if it wasn't for the trust and loyalty that I gave to him along the way. You know, everyone know when he had to go out based on the injury, you know, I was fortunate to be chosen to continue that path for those 4 or 5 games. And I think the way I went about it, you know, kept things on track the way he would and just keep the chemistry of the players and the coaches, I think that went a long way. And for this level, I think that's something that he knew will be needed as far as just having good people around you, and that's what he thrive on. You know, when you look around the staff that we have guys from different teams, different places of the world. But once we're around each other, I think he did a great job as far as selecting the coaches that we have because we get along very well. When we here, we enjoy work. When we go home and come back, it's like the same temperament that we have, and that's tough. When you can find 10 coaches, 10 grown men that can get along in this profession, it's kind of difficult, but I think he did a great job from the coordinators to the position coach. You know, we have a great staff, and I'm just fortunate to be a part of it.
Hi, Coach. Adam Munster-Tiger from 24/7 Sports. I'm curious, what's the origin of your nickname Flea? Is that something that goes back to your playing days?
It goes back to high school. I'm from Miami, Florida, went to Miami Northwestern. I played punt return. I was small in stature, 5'6", 150. You know, back then, practice was like game. It was like reps, like actually hitting, you know, not walkthroughs. And I was told to go back to fill a punt just to see how it goes. I was a sophomore in college trying to make varsity. And I filled the punt. I scored in the first one, just like any other coach. They said, let me see it again. So I went back, you know, in my years, it's just like live reps. In my mind, I'm running for my life, but in their mind, they got a great punt returner. So I was able to do it again, and after that second one, they said we got a Flea on our hand, and it's just been Flea since high school, college, NFL. Now it's Coach Flea.
Coach Flea mentioned that he had 22 years of coaching experience. There's a lot of coaching experience for a coach, but he still chose to go and coach for Coach Prime because he want to elevate. He want to coach in the Pac-12. He want to coach in the SEC and maybe in the NFL one day. He also mentioned that he's a player coach, which means he's played at a higher level. He played in the high school. He played in the NFL.
Coach Sean Keeler at the Denver Post, you mentioned there's a lot of guys from a lot of different backgrounds on this staff. Somebody like Tim Brewster has been here before, knows the area, but a lot of guys are from Florida and Texas. The weather the last 2 days is not Florida and Texas. So we get to see a lot of how Coach Prime has adapted to it's a little bit of a fish out of water story. Are there some stories that have happened that have been amusing or maybe that you could share that you haven't seen with him when you got a guy who can't find grits in Boulder, can't do whatever, and how has he adapted to basically a cold place?
I think he's still adapting. In Jackson, when I first met Coach Prime, we know when it's practice time. When he come outside, if it's raining, if it's chilly, we're not going outside, no matter what. I mean, he do not like the rain. He do not like the cold. And it's interesting because when Colorado was, somewhere in the picture as far as being a possibility, we thought, no way, no way possible because of Coach Prime. He's a Florida guy. He loves those type elements. But I think when he came here and saw the area, and while we're here, even myself, like Colorado no way, being from Miami, but it's a different type of cold. It feels different, and we feel like we can adjust. But just everything surrounding this place, this is a sleeping giant, and we could not let weather be a factor as far as making that decision. But you best believe, when it's raining, when it's cold, we'll be inside when it comes to practice.
Hey, Coach, Tony Casolo, Buffalo's Wire. In an ideal world,
Yes.
do you see the running backs group having a bell cow, or and identifying one running back, or doing more of a running back by committee?
We'd like to find that one guy, that's an all-purpose guy. In this offense, you got to be smart. You got to think like a quarterback when it comes to protection, when it comes to understand what we call the box, things of that nature. So you got to know how to think like a quarterback. You got to be well-conditioned because, Sean, he dials it up. He goes pretty fast. So with those things, being smart, being well-conditioned, being tough, being able to compete, playing some special teams, we believe, I know a lot of coaches are going to say the same thing, but we feel like we're the toughest group, toughest position on the team. We want to have that same mindset. Do we have that guy? We got to go through spring and find out. As far as the guy on the team, Deion Smith does some great things. Hankerson's a smaller guy, but he plays tough. And we have some guys coming in. But we're going to take our time as far as evaluating guys in the spring just to find that right guy because, we spread guys out to load in that box, make the box conducive to what we're trying to do for the run game. And we got to make sure we have a guy that can take full advantage, that's going to be disciplined, get downhill in the run game. It's going to be where he need to be protection-wise, but just be that quarterback in the backfield and making the right checks and right reads.
There's probably a handful of guys on the Colorado team that know that their spot is to give away. The rest of them got to earn every single bit of what they want. These coaches always talk about they don't care about the film. They want to see what you're going to do on the football field, what you're going to do in spring camp. Because you can put up good film, you can do very good in one-on-ones or in T-shirt and shorts, but when it's time to put on them pads, we're going to know who can play and who can't.
Hey, Coach, Tyler King, Denver Gazette. Just curious, obviously no one knows HBCU football more than you from your time as a player and a coach. Just curious, how much fun was the last couple of years at Jackson State with Coach Prime? Just kind of seeing the explosion of interest and coverage in HBCU football, not just Jackson State, but the SWAC as well. And kind of what are you hoping going forward for HBCU football?
You hope they can, it's tough. I'm an HBCU guy. I played there. I coached there as an assistant. I coached as a head coach. And I coached in the MEAC, and I coached in the SWAC, Southwest Athletic Conference. It's tough. And it's Jackson State is a different entity. Coach Prime is a different person. It was just a Coach Prime, and it's not too many Coach Prime that can do the things that he's able to do, the type networking, the type things that he brings to a program. And Jackson State is probably, when it comes to attendance, they already average maybe about 25,000 a game. For those two to come together, Coach Prime kind of heightened those things. He kind of put it on a map where now it was a spotlight that folks can see the culture that Jackson State already had. I mean, they got 4 Hall of Famers. So the culture was there, the tradition was there, but Coach Prime just added a different element that took it to a whole different level, where now the country was able to see it. He brought hope not only to the college, but to the city. He brought revenues to the city. So within those 2 years, was just so much good that came into it. And for me, being that place with low resources, not able to figure out some things as far as getting things done, and see Coach Prime come in and just draw the Walmarts and the big business, even the commission, the NFL, just to help Jackson State to get it where it needs to be financially with the resources. You hope other schools can see that with the resources, with the giving back through the alum, that this can possibly be throughout the different schools, the different conference. But it takes time. It's not easy, and you got to have a right guy in place. There's only one Coach Prime. We try to tell a lot of guys that, and I think we'll realize that as we get going. He thinks differently. He gets up in the morning, and he's always thinking about making things around him better. Making sure his coaches, his players, his staff, everybody's in position to have success, and he does that on a day-to-day basis. So it was so much fun that we had at Jackson State, being able, winning does all. It creates, an environment where it helps and heighten everything by winning. And we was fortunate to win, and now coming here winning is going to do so much for the city and for this campus.
Primetime put HBCU on the map just by going to Jackson State. That was enough in itself just for him to be a head coach for Jackson State. And of course, with him being able to win games, with him being able to get resources to these teams in the HBCU, ESPN, just so many things he was able to do. Bring out celebrities. I mean, I'd be here all day if I was to mention all the things that he done.
Last one, Pat, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, kind of play devil's advocate off what you just said. Great answer there, by the way. You guys have won so much and been so successful everywhere you've been. And under Coach Prime, I'm just wondering, I mean, in football, it's going to have its ups and downs. We haven't seen the downs and how Coach Prime responds. What's he like when he faces adversity? Is he dig in tougher? What's that like?
He handles adversity. You don't want to be around it during that time is going on. I tell you that, But me being with Coach Prime, a guy's first time being a college coach, is a story that always embedded in my head. He's a guy, when he approaches something, he approaches softly until he really have confidence in what he's doing. And once he gets it, and he runs away with it. That first year as a head coach, you could tell he was filling things out, but he was so good at mastering things, so good at managing people. So we was able to win right away. But that second year, you can see, just through that 1 year experience, the type of head coach when it comes to everything that involves the decision making, he went to a whole different level. So we had some adversities all the time at Jackson State, outside of football with the water crisis. A lot of things that we didn't have in place when it come to the training table. He faced adversity on a day-to-day basis, but he attacked it differently. When he realized something needed to be fixed, he got people involved, and then he brought it to everyone's attention. This is what we're doing. This is how we improved it. But when it comes to the game of football, as the game is going on, things is not going well, he's very calm. He's very cool. Halftime, he gets more animated as far as with the coaches. But the way he works the sideline, and I think that goes back to being a Hall of Famer football player and baseball player, how he was able to manage both, but have the composure to get through different situations. That's how he was on the sideline. But meetings, halftime, you see a different Coach Brian. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up all the interviews amongst the Colorado staff. If you guys didn't check out all the interviews, I will have a link in the description. As I said before, we are within 1 week away from spring camp. Spring camp starts on Sunday. I will be in talks with the athletic director on tomorrow. Keep you guys updated as far as the access inside the facility. I also have an upcoming interview with Peyton Kraft. She's a student. She has foot on the ground at Colorado. Very beneficial for MagDog TV. You guys know NFL teams, when they have training camp, they have female reporters because they're able to get access to so much information that you need. She will be a vital part of MagDog TV. I'm very excited to speak with her. It will be on March the 16th. I will have that interview this week for you guys to see as well. If you guys have any questions for me to ask her, definitely drop a comment. That way I can get those questions to her. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely like, subscribe to the channel.